The Galactic Council Hall was filled with strange lights and tall figures from 100 worlds. Voices echoed across the massive chamber as representatives of powerful alien races gathered to judge one small planet called Earth. In the center of the hall stood a single human figure. He was not tall, not strong, and not impressive to alien eyes. He was simply known as the prototype. When the name of Earth was announced, laughter spread through the chamber. Some aliens clicked their jaws in mockery. Others flashed cold smiles. To them, Earth was weak, slow, and far behind the rest of the galaxy. Humans are fragile, one alien commander said. They break icily, they fear pain, and they cannot survive real space conditions. Another voice joined in, louder and cruel. Earth's prototype is nothing more than a joke. The human prototype stood still and said nothing. He had learned long ago that silence was safer than pride. His job was not to speak. His job was to be watched, tested, and judged. High above them all sat the alien queen. She ruled one of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Her face showed no emotion as the laughter continued, but her eyes stayed fixed on the human. There was a rule older than the council itself. No royal was allowed to speak to a human directly. Humans were considered unpredictable, dangerous not because of their strength, but because of their will. The queen knew this rule well, and yet, something about the human prototype felt wrong. He did not look afraid. He did not look angry. He simply endured. After the council session ended, the prototype was escorted back to the Earth Research Station. The station floated near the edge of controlled space, far from help, far from allies. That night, the station was silent. No alarms sounded. No guards moved through the halls. The prototype sat alone in his small room. A metal bed, a dim light, and a single window looking into endless stars. He had been mocked all day, tested, scanned, and laughed at. Then, without warning, the lights flickered. The door to his room opened slowly. No alarm, no security alert. A tall shadow slipped inside. The air grew cold. The prototype stood up, his heart beating fast. Standing before him was the alien queen, unarmed, unannounced, and very much forbidden to be there. You should not be here, the prototype said quietly. His voice was calm, but his hands trembled. I know, the queen replied, her voice soft but firm. I broke the rule. She stepped closer, her eyes glowing faintly. They laughed at you today, she said, but they do not understand what they are laughing at. The prototype frowned, confused. I am just an experiment, he said. The queen shook her head slowly. No, she answered. You're not just a prototype. She looked toward the window, watching the stars. They fear your kind, she continued, because humans adapt. They fall, they suffer, and they rise again. The prototype felt a chill run through him. Why, tell me this, he asked. The queen met his eyes, her expression serious. Because the council has already made a decision, she said. Before he could ask more, footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. Security patrols were moving. The queen stepped back toward the door. Remember this night, she said. They laughed at Earth today, but tomorrow they may fear it. With that, she disappeared into the shadows, leaving the prototype alone, with a warning that could change the fate of the galaxy. The door closed softly behind the alien queen. The prototype stood frozen in his room, staring at the empty space where she had been moments ago. His heart was still racing, not because she was powerful, but because she had come at all. No alien royal had ever broken the council's rule before, and she had done it for him. The next morning, guards arrived early. They escorted the prototype back to the testing chambers. Their faces showed no emotion, but the air felt heavy. Whispers followed him through the halls. The queen was seen near the human sector. Impossible, others replied. Royals do not visit experiments. Inside the chamber, machines surrounded him. Bright lights scanned his body. Pressure increased. Temperature dropped. The scientists expected him to fail. They always did, but the prototype endured. His breathing slowed. His muscles adjusted. His heart stayed steady. An alien researcher frowned at the data. These readings make no sense, she said. He should be in pain. He should be unconscious. Another added, yet the human stood upright, silent, focused, far away, in a restricted wing of the station. The alien queen watched the test, results in secret. Her hands tightened as the numbers appeared. They're pushing him too fast, she whispered. They want him to break. The council had met again without Earth present. Their decision was clear. The prototype was not weak, and that made him dangerous. Humans grow stronger under stress, one council member said. If we allow this to continue, Earth will not remain small for long. Another voice responded coldly, then we end it now. The Queen felt a sharp pain in her chest. She had hoped she was wrong. She had hoped the council would wait. That night, she returned, once again. The prototype's door opened without sound. He was awake this time, sitting on the edge of his bed, as if he had known she would come. They are planning something, he said before she spoke. The Queen nodded. They want to erase the prototype program, she replied. And you with it? The room fell silent. The words hung in the air like a blade. Why? The prototype asked. I have done nothing. Exactly, the Queen said. You survived. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. They fear humans because you do not need to be perfect. You learn from pain. You adapt. The prototype looked down at his hands, hands that had been called weak, hands that still trembled. I am not a weapon, he said. I know. The Queen answered. That is what frightens them most. She revealed a hidden truth. Earth's prototype was never meant to be a single soldier. It was proof that humans could survive where others could not. If Earth learns this, she said, the balance of the galaxy will change. Suddenly, alarms blared across the station. Red lights flashed. Boots thundered through the halls. They are coming for you, the Queen said urgently. You must be ready. I cannot fight them, the prototype replied. You do not need to, she said. You only need to endure. She placed a small device in his hand. When the time comes, trust your instincts. Before he could ask more, she turned away. Security forces were already near. As the door cliffed behind her once again, the prototype clenched the device. Realizing the truth at last, the galaxy was not afraid of human strength. It was afraid of what humans became when they refused to fall. And this time, Earth would not be silent. The alarms continued to echo through the Earth station. Red lights washed over the metal walls. The prototype stood alone in his room, holding the small device the alien Queen had given him. He did not know how it worked. He did not even know why she trusted him, but he felt one thing clearly. This moment mattered. Security teams moved fast through the corridors. Their boots hit the floor in perfect rhythm. They were not here to test him. They were here to end him. The prototype closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He remembered the words of the Queen. You only need to endure, far away. Inside the council archive chamber, hidden files were being opened, files older than many civilizations. Files labeled Earth Adaptation Record, long before humans reached the stars. They lived on a dangerous world, a planet with crushing gravity, violent storms, extreme heat and cold. Most species were designed for perfect worlds. Humans were shaped by an imperfect one. The records showed humans surviving plagues, wars, and disasters. Each time they were pushed. Each time they changed. Not by becoming stronger in body alone, but stronger in will. Back on the station, the first door burst open. Security units entered the human sector. Weapons ready. Orders clear. The prototype stepped into the hallway, unarmed, unprotected. An alien officer raised his weapon. Human, return to your room, he commanded. The prototype did not move. Gravity pressed down on his body. Stress filled his chest, and something inside him adjusted. His heart slowed. His muscles tightened. His mind focused. The device in his hand activated, not as a weapon, but as a signal. Across the station, systems flickered. Gravity levels shifted slightly. Just enough to confuse alien soldiers. They stumbled. Their balance failed. Humans trained under heavy gravity their entire lives. What felt normal to him felt crushing too. Then, the prototype moved forward, steady and calm, not attacking, not running, enduring. In the council chamber, the alien Queen stood before the elders. She had revealed the hidden records herself. This is why you fear them, she said. Humans adapt faster than any species we have ever seen, a council member replied angrily. They are unstable, they are resilient, the Queen corrected. There is a difference. Back on the station, soldiers tried to regroup, but their bodies failed under the pressure. The prototype passed them one by one, his breathing controlled, his steps slow but certain. He reached the central control room, not because he wanted power, but because survival demanded it. Screens lit up around him, showing human data, survival rates, adaptation curves rising sharply. The truth was clear now. Earth's prototype was not special. He was normal, and that terrified the galaxy. Because if one human could do this, then millions could. Suddenly, the station shook. External weapons powered up. The Council had lost patience. A final order was issued. If containment fails, destroy the station. Their prototype looked out at the stars, thinking of Earth, of a planet that never made things easy. He stood his ground. As the countdown began, and for the first time, the galaxy realized it was not watching an experiment anymore. It was watching the beginning of something unstoppable. The station shook harder as the countdown continued. Warning lights flashed across every corridor. The prototype stood in the control room, feeling the deep vibration under his feet. This was no longer a test. This was an execution. Outside the station, massive alien warships moved into position. Their weapons glowed with power strong enough to tear moons apart. To the Council, destroying one human station meant nothing. Inside the control room, the prototype placed both hands on the console. His body was tired, his muscles burned, but his mind stayed clear. On Earth, humans had learned something simple. Pain did not always mean the end. Sometimes it meant change. Alien soldiers tried to reach the control room again. Their armor was advanced, their weapons deadly, but their bodies struggled. The station gravity slowly increased, not enough to crush steel, just enough to test living beings. Aliens collapsed to their knees. Their breathing became heavy, their movements slow. The prototype felt the pressure too. His bones ached, his chest felt tight. And still, he stood. He remembered training on Earth, running under heavy skies, working through exhaustion, standing up after falling again and again. This was nothing new. In the Council chamber, panic spread. Data streams showed alien forces failing against one human station. This is impossible, one elder shouted. The alien queen stood tall among them. It is not impossible, she said calmly. You simply forgot what endurance looks like. The Council gave a final command. Deploy ground units. End it face to face. Elite alien warriors teleported into the station. They were larger, stronger, and bred for combat. They moved toward the control room without fear. The prototype heard their approach, heavy footsteps, sharp breathing. He stepped out to meet them, not with anger, not with hate, but with resolve. The first warrior charged. The prototype braced himself. The impact sent pain through his body. He fell. The warrior laughed. Then the prototype pushed himself back up, slowly, steadily. That moment changed everything. The warrior struck again and again, each blow stronger. Each time, the human stood. Blood ran down his face. His vision blurred. His hands shook, but he did not stop. Other warriors hesitated. They had never seen this before. A being that refused to stay down. The prototype moved forward. Not fast, not graceful, unbreakable. One by one, the warriors stepped back. Fear entered their eyes. Not fear of death, fear of In the Council chamber, silence fell. The data was clear now. Humans were not fragile. They were relentless. The alien queen spoke softly. This is why you laughed at them. Because you did not understand them. Back on the station, the prototype reached the central console again. He stopped the countdown with trembling hands. The station powered down. Outside, the warships froze in place. No orders followed. The galaxy was watching now. Watching one human prove something ancient and simple, that strength is not always about power. Sometimes it is about refusing to fall. The prototype leaned against the wall, breathing hard. He was still alive, and the war was not over yet. Silence filled the space around the Earth station. The warships remained still, their weapons powered down. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council did not know what to do next. Inside the station, the prototype sat on the cold metal. His body was weak. His vision faded in and out, but his heart still beat strong. Medical teams finally arrived, not to capture him, not to restrain him, but to help him. Across the galaxy, live feeds spread the truth. Every species watched the recordings. A single human standing under pressure that broke warriors, a human who fell again and again, and still stood back up. Fear slowly turned into understanding. In the Council chamber, the elders gathered once more. Their voices were quiet now, their laughter gone. The alien queen stepped forward. This night has ended your ignorance, she said. You called humans weak because they suffer. but suffering is how they grow. One elder spoke with hesitation. He is only one. The Queen shook her head. He is not special. He is human. Those words echoed through the chamber, and every leader understood the meaning. On the station, the prototype woke in a medical bay. The lights were soft, the pain still there. The alien queen stood beside him. No guards, no walls between them. "You survived," she said quietly. "So did you," the prototype replied. She allowed herself a small smile. "The council has withdrawn the destruction order," she said. "Earth will no longer be treated as a lesser world." The prototype closed his eyes for a moment, thinking of his home planet, of people who struggled every day, unseen, unheard. "They should know," he said. "Humans do not give up. They will." The Queen answered. News reached Earth within hours, not of victory, but of recognition. Humans were no longer an experiment. They were a force. New agreements were signed. New rules were written. One rule stood above all others: never underestimate. Humanity, the prototype, was offered power, status, a place among leaders. He refused. "I am not a symbol," he said. "I am proof." The Queen respected that choice, as did the galaxy. Before leaving the station, she spoke one final time. "That night, I came to your room because I was afraid," she admitted. "Afraid of what would happen if the council was wrong." The prototype looked at her calmly. "Being afraid is human," he said. She bowed her head, a gesture no human he'd ever received before. As the Earth station drifted quietly among the stars, a new chapter began. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Humans were not born to dominate. They were born to endure. And endurance was the most dangerous power of all. They laughed at Earth once. They never laughed again.